Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Stimson Center today for our conversation with His Excellency Sabri Boukadoum, Algeria's ambassador to the United States. We are especially honored to host the ambassador here in Washington as part of the inaugural event of our North Africa Program's Ambassador Series, a timely dialogue as Algeria embarks on regional and international initiatives. Algeria today stands at a pivotal juncture in its national journey, pursuing ambitious economic, social, and governance reforms to meet the aspirations of its peoples. In the energy domain, Algeria has unveiled a $60 billion plan to boost oil and gas output while pioneering new hydrogen projects, adding renewable energy capacity. To advance diversification goals, the government introduced a record $135 billion budget to stimulate growth in areas such as agriculture, industry, and construction, while aiming to cut deficits by 35%. Crucially, Algeria's leadership has enacted a new unemployment benefit for young job seekers and has pledged to create hundreds of thousands of jobs to tackle high youth unemployment. Algeria has also made notable progress in its sustainable development agenda, including achieving top rankings on SDG 1, no poverty, reflecting national efforts to expand social protections and reduce inequality. Regionally, Algeria continues to assert itself as a key diplomatic and security sector actor in North Africa and the Sahel, often serving as a stabilizing force in the neighborhood. Algiers has a proud track record of mediation and peacekeeping, from brokering the Mali peace agreement in 2015 to recently offering its good offices in the Niger crisis. On the global stage, Algeria was elected as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the 24-25 term, its first return to the Council in nearly 2 decades. Algeria continues to deepen strategic partnerships with global actors, including economic and diplomatic ties with both China and the European Union. The United States and Algeria have built a robust partnership grounded in shared security interests. This year marks a new milestone with the signing of the first of its kind Defense Cooperation MOU, paving the way for extended military collaboration. American businesses are also increasingly exploring trade and investment opportunities in Algeria's diversifying economy, while joint programs in education are helping to build human capital. We are privileged to have the ambassador here today to share more about his country's approach and priorities. Ambassador Boukadoum is a distinguished career diplomat serving as Algeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2019 to 2022. Prior to that post, he was Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations from 2014 to 2019, where he facilitated the 2018 United Nations Development System reform and was an architect of international initiatives such as the Pelindaba Treaty, which established Africa as a nuclear weapon-free zone. Throughout his career, Ambassador Boukadoum has been a key voice on issues ranging from disarmament and international development to regional peace efforts. Today's discussion reflects the Stimson Center's commitment to engaging with North Africa's evolving economic and policy landscape. The Stimson Center's North Africa program, which just launched this year, is dedicated to deepening understanding of this vital region through rigorous research and public engagement. Hosting conversations in the Ambassador Series is a key part in illuminating the opportunity and challenges defining the region's trajectory. We're grateful for the ambassador to come to Stimson today to share his perspectives with all of us, for all of you to join in this timely conversation, and we do want it to be a conversation. You have a QR code on your chair that is used to send in questions. For those of you online, you can go to stimson.org/questions if you would like to submit a question for the discussion. Now it is my pleasure to turn the floor over to our moderator and director of our North Africa program, Hafed Al-Ghwell, senior director and a senior fellow and director here at Stimson. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you very, very much. I think you pretty much covered his entire resume, so the only thing I can add is that he's also my friend. So that's, Ambassador Sabri is probably one of the most distinguished Algerian diplomats. Over the last many, many years, Algeria had produced a lot of key diplomatic figures over the years. Some of them have led some of the most important international efforts. I think his appointment to Washington is also a great indicator of how significant the relationship with the United States is in the Algerian leadership thinking. And I'm sure, I have no doubt that he's going to be extremely effective. He has already been that. Our discussion today, I'm going to try to frame it in terms of future looking, to try to cover Algeria's internal reforms, which have been significant over the last few years, both in terms of governance structure and economic development and youth programs, its role in the global community, and of course, its relationship with the United States and how is that evolving. Let me just start with the domestic reform agenda, which I think it's very significant and has been launched under the title of New Algeria in 2019. And it has is focused on a number of initiatives in social and political renewals, reforming the electoral laws. It has also a number of programs for the youth. It has included even term limits for the presidency. So it has been really quite significant. Can you let us know a little bit about that and where it is in the, where is this program now and how successful it has been?
Well, first, thank you very much for your kind words. Sometimes I wonder if you're talking about me or no. You're so kind.
Your record is there.
Well, thank you very much. But you said that when I was appointed by the President Tebboune already when he was elected as president at the end of 2019, but literally at the end, because we started in January 2020. Unfortunately, we started almost immediately with the COVID crisis and the whole world, so it impacted the whole world, impacted even the program that was set by the president. And definitely, yes, this is, when President Tebboune started, he started with a huge program of reforms. You mentioned in fact, he started with the Constitution.
Yes.
You start with the reform of the Constitution. You mentioned one of the aspects, so many aspects, the not only, but two-term limits, two-terms limit, which is an issue in our continent, I would say, and even elsewhere. But also in strengthening the control of the checks and balances
yes.
by the citizens, which is very important. Of course, when you see when you check should not use this word, but when you analyze any process, we tend to see what is on the sides. This one is not perfect. Nothing is perfect. Absolutely nothing is perfect, including my country, definitely. But you mention something very important to me, is that you look at the future. Yeah. What is the future? What are we supposed to do? What do we want to do? Do we have the approval? Do the president and the policy has the approval of the citizens? I think it is the case. Nothing is perfect, definitely, but the checks and balances, judgment, giving women empowerment. Now, for example, there's a law in Algeria where you have at least 1/3 of in elections, local or national elections, it has to be represented by women, which is a problem also for some parties, because it's not easy for them inside the inland in the country, and it's not easy, but it exists. Empowering women, empowering youth. Algeria is 70% less than 30 years old, which is an issue, which is a problem, and we have to fix it to face. So these are so many things that are being going. The Council of Youth in Algeria now that advise directly the president. So there are so many things. The most important to me is what we intend to do for the future, what we are building. And the reform should be continuous. We do not stop, because it's also evolving. How do we tend to what the population, what the citizens are expecting? That's important. So just to mention a few, I told you the High Youth Council.
There's also now a new provision that a certain percentage of the new parliament have to be
women
from the
and
youth.
youth.
Yeah.
Yes, it's mandatory. And by the way, also the fact that there is a reform of electoral law that we say no dirty money. So not the political parties and candidates, where one of the part of the reform is to encourage young people and women to participate in the political life, and they will be financed by the government. By the treasury, instead of as a private enterprise. But of course, you can you have to represent everyone, but just to push them to push everyone. But people we have youth council. It's called High Youth Council. We have also a national. These are part of the new of the reforms. Yeah. The National Council for Civil Society. I mean, all these structures that were built or created after 2020. They have to show, and they started. In fact, I'm seeing just a few days ago what the Youth Council is doing is very good. It's very good. It's in the right direction. It's not always perfect, as I said. Nothing is perfect, but it's in the right direction to raise awareness. And don't forget that we have 60 years of the past. We went through these reforms came after. Should have mentioned that in the beginning. That after 1 year of Hirak, I don't know how to. Kind of, it was a peaceful one, by the way. It was a really peaceful one. Nothing happened.
Probably one of the very few in the region.
Nothing happened. I was there, so nothing happened. But demonstrations twice a time then. So it was to answer the demands of the population. And the fact is that after this Hirak, there were these elections. Yeah. And by the way, elections also, there is one of part of the reform is creation of an institution called the independent بالعربي نسيت كيفاش يقولوا the independent, I don't know if I have it here, but it is an independent institutions that control. It's not before it was for 60 years it was the Ministry of Interior that dealt with elections. Today, no, it's an independent council who wish to decide everything, including because I was also when we were outside, not in the the community abroad has the right to vote. So even that's not the embassy. From the ambassador has nothing to do with that. They said their own people to control and to follow and to publish the results. So just this is part of all the reforms that were being conducted now for 6 years.
It is quite impressive, that I've been following Algeria as a part of there is, as in other parts of the region, when it comes to youth and their percentages, so the youth bulge, which is not as before, but it is, their focus is both on having a voice, but also an agency, and the economic dimension is extremely important for them. That's what driving, when people graduate from college, they need jobs, they need to get married, they need to raise families. So that economic pressure is really driving, I think, a lot of this Hirak across the region. But so how do you see this developing in the economic sphere, this new reform
for the youth?
Agenda? For the whole economy, but the youth specifically.
Definitely. We have suffered for years because of history. It's, I should not put the blame on anyone, but it is all big enterprises, all big companies were state-owned till now. But now today, what is important to notice is 60% of the economy is coming from the private sector today. So agriculture, in a few years. So this is why I'm telling you, you should have the board in front of you. You see where the flickers were. Yeah. So you can criticize, but these are the results. You mentioned the youth, and you rightfully, I said 70% of the Algerians are less than 30 years old. Yeah. We have almost 1 million every year and growing, highly educated people that are coming to the job market. It's impossible to have.
You also have diversified away from just oil. The non-oil sector has tripled over the last few years.
Absolutely, and this is the world or elsewhere. that education is free in Algeria, completely
Yes.
free. I mean, from kindergarten to college, to universities. So, fourth of the population, who is today 12 millions, going to schools or universities for free. So it's costly, it's huge, it's something like 20% of the national budget. But when they end, unfortunately, some of them end up in other countries because doctors and engineers, and that's a problem to me. But the fact that we have, you can criticize, or shouldn't be free, but it is free. It is free, and very often, they're very good. They're so good that there are other countries, including especially in Europe, they're taking them out of the country. So it's the brain drain, I would say.
You know, there's a statement of President Bourguiba of Tunisia when people complained about the big budget for education. He said, yes, it is big, but ignorance is more expensive. So
it's even bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a risk that ought to be continued. We have to do it. I'm speaking as an Algerian citizen, not as ambassador. But definitely, when you have 1 million highly educated graduates coming every year, by the July and September every year on the job market, what can we do? There is another reform. Now the young people have an allowance, and they're having it something. Well, it's not a big deal, but they maintain their some kind of standard of living, and before getting their first job.
Yes.
And it's really complicated. It's really hard. But we are doing it. We are doing it, and we have to support it. It's different. It's not. Some people are criticizing this move, but we think it's one of the motto of the authorities is we are a social state.
Yeah.
I mean, we all. That reminds me of the Declaration of Independence, that we're looking for happiness. That all Americans. This is it. Nobody is happy, definitely, but this is what we're looking for, what we are striving for, what the people are supposed. The governments, the government, the authorities, local authorities. Local authorities have a lot of things to do. They have a lot of authority inside. We have 58 wilayas, which means like kind of governorate all around the country. The country is huge, by the way. I should have told you that. Do not forget that Algeria does some basic facts that no one should forget, because it's how...
I think it's the largest in Africa.
It's the largest country in Africa, it's the largest country in the Mediterranean, and it's the largest country in the Arab world. So it's today it's around 48 to 49 million inhabitants. I told you 1/4 are, more than 1/4, I'm sorry, it's 70%. 1/4 the older generation, mine. The 7,000 kilometer borders. I mean, it's the huge. These are the challenges, the internal challenges and the external challenges. In an area you mentioned briefly about the Sahel, all the Libya that you know very well. There are some challenges with Morocco, so a very complicated relationship. The illegal immigration, security, terrorism, all these things that's put in the same pot. And you have to be the one who tries to solve all this. So do not forget the basic facts.
Yeah.
When you have the basic facts, then you understand how we behave, what are our intentions.
And also the history of Algeria. I mean, this is a newly independent country that has suffered a very long period of occupation and colonization. Over close to 100 years, I think.
Or more than that. 130 years too.
And so that has an incredible impact, of course, on this. So you're trying to catch up, I see, also in terms of addressing some of the colonial period historical impact. Let me just ask you one last question on the domestic side, and then we'll move to Algeria's external affairs and foreign policy. You painted a very big picture for the local reforms or domestic reforms and the complexities of these issues because of the size, the population, the historical burden, and all of that. But so, two things. If you can quickly tell us how far have you gone in terms of this domestic reform agenda, and what are the biggest challenges that you still see that you'll have to face to push this agenda forward?
Definitely, it's the economy. Yeah. Definitely, it's the economy. The authorities are opening up the economy. It's a long process. It's not easy because it's almost the culture, I would say.
Yeah.
It's the 60s and the 70s also, where we have this huge, big, juggernaut companies dealing with everything: energy, mining, even distribution, trade. So and then it didn't work. It didn't work after years. There was an ambitious plan in the 60s to have this what called then the revolutions, cultural, industrial, and agrarian, agriculture. As all the policies, not everything was good, not everything was bad. But the result, then the population has grown from, at the independence, we're 10 millions, now we are 48 millions. We've been feeding Europe for 2,000 years. We will call the green basket, Roma green basket. Yeah. Now we have to feed ourselves first. And then amongst the most important reform is the agriculture. So now today I can tell you, let me do some PR for my country, one of the best fruits and
dates.
Greens. Dates, definitely. That's nobody can contest, not even the Libyans.
I know.
So they're the best in the world, definitely. And I should have shown that today, by the way. But no, but...
And by the way, they are available. I saw the Algerian dates, the Digla, in some, in some shops here.
I make sure. Yeah, this is part also. How can you open up? We thought tourism. Tourism in the 60s, 70s, there's the strong belief that we should not develop external tourism. We should develop internal tourism. It was called mass tourism, if I remember, just for the Algerians. While one of the really, I don't have to say it, maybe it's not preposterous for me, but one of the best place to make tourism is Algeria. That's very frankly, because it's huge, because there's so many things so beautiful that deserves to be known at least. And you meant the desert, the north, the sea. You can ski in the morning and swim in the afternoon next to Algiers. So but this is unknown. This is known to so many because this is kind of maybe overkilling this pride of the Algerians. We don't have to say it. We don't have to show it. We don't need anybody else. Well, for a diplomat, this is not my opinion. It's contrary to what people think.
But that's a problem that's faced. For example, Libya is the same.
I wish I could go to Leptis Magna, definitely.
I know, exactly. Complete cities that are still preserved. And but I think it's because of the oil and the gas sector. And these countries, definitely. For example, if you compare them to Tunisia, Morocco, and Egypt, that live off tourists. Algeria and Libya tend to have this sort of false pride of we don't want foreigners in.
Without oil, we have this. So, this is the pride of the Algerians is well known. But you mentioned at the beginning in your introduction the Sahel, Niger, Mali.
Yes.
For centuries, the trade with the Sahel was until the 70s. Yeah. So there's these huge connections with the Tuaregs. We have our own Tuaregs, of course. Algerians, fully Algerians. So in the whole Western Africa and in the Sahel too, Chad. And then came the oil. Oil changes the way people looked at the economy. Changed completely. Yeah. The huge caravans that went to go for centuries going through the whole Sahel. Now, the borders were closed. They have to protect what you have, and everyone lived in kind of autarcy, just looking into themselves. We don't need this trade, this traditional trade. So there was this economic cultural evolution because of oil and gas, especially in Algeria after the 60s. So for centuries, the trade disappeared. I used to see Tuaregs in Côte d'Ivoire, for example, going from Algeria. Sometimes they say, what are you doing here? And the coast there. But it was usually and it was the case for centuries as the long trade routes for everywhere. So oil, Libya and Algeria and other countries
Also
made one of the reasons, not the reason, the main reason, but because there's no this interconnection between the peoples, all the tribes and all the different persons that are there. And then you had all what happened. Maybe we will talk about the Sahel later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our program is actually, even though it's called the North Africa, but we include the Sahel countries as a part of this for some of the reasons you just pointed out, that culturally, tribally, historically, racially, it's very hard to separate, especially Algeria and Libya that are deep into the Sahel area, from Chad, Niger, Mali. I mean, the connections are too many, social, historical, and so on. The Tuareg, the Tabu, all of them. One of the member of the Presidential Council in Libya was telling me that he only learned Arabic when he was 12 years old because he's from the Tabu tribes of the south. So it's very hard to separate these countries from each other and their impact. So, okay, we'll go a little bit to the foreign policy issue, and then I'll open it up for questions. We have, I don't know how many actually came, but we have over 170 people signed up online, including many people from the State Department and a lot of the media and World Bank and so on. So let's go. Sorry, if you want to finish.
No, I just want to add something as to confirm what you said about the interconnection between the people, all the peoples of the region, Libya, Algeria, even Morocco and Mauritania and the South, Mali, Algeria.
Half of Libya are Algerians.
Libya, I was a foreign minister, as you mentioned, and I had one member of the parliament, an Algerian parliament, who came with the Shesh and the Bandura. A white one, and he was criticizing the way I was dealing with the Libyan problems then, and he said, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. He was really harsh on me in the parliament, in the Algerian parliament. I said, okay, no, I have to accept this. So. And then a few days later, I went to Tripoli, and I see the same person coming with the same gown and the shesh, and he was so harsh. So I told him, what are you doing here with the Libyans? You're supposed to be a member of the parliament. I say, no, the other one is my cousin.
There you go.
So, no, that's to understand that two cousins.
Absolutely.
One is a parliamentary in Tripoli, then the Majlis, and the other one is Algeria. Yeah. And saying the same things about criticizing the Algerian policy. So just to understand, we had a problem in Mali, but people do not understand what's it. This is really a continuation of Algeria, northern Mali and all Mali. Yes. We've been there. We've been trying. Maybe we'll go later on this issue, but you have to understand there are villages right on the border. So how can we deal with that? Do you say we're going to close the border because there are some traffics there, and illegal traffic? Let me say it politely. And it is impossible because you literally, physically separate families on the border with the Tinzawati in the village. Yes. So you can. So it's with Niger, it's impossible.
The Amazigh also, even in the north, the Amazigh connections as well.
The Tuaregs are Amazigh. They speak the Tamashek, which is one of the.
It's very hard, and I see these three regions, and I actually maybe we can transition to the forum element. The Sahel countries, like you pointed out, the North African, and even the Mediterranean to a great extent because of the historical connections and the proximity to Europe and the impact of migration, of terrorism on the European continent. Very few people realize how close Algeria and North Africa is to Europe. I mean, literally, it's like a lake rather than an actual sea. Absolutely. So these three regions of the world are extremely connected, but North Africa and the Sahel have so many problems, governance issues, weak states, terrorists, illegal drugs, illegal migration, and you can go from Egypt and Sudan issue all the way to Morocco and the Sahara. In my mind, the two biggest, problems right now is the Libya issue, the Libya civil war and divisions and so on. And then you have also the Moroccan-Algeria complexities. Can you explain to me, and Algeria for a long time has been seen as the mediator par excellence, in terms of both the region and also globally. I mean, some of the Algerian role in global issues. Tell me, how is this new change in Algeria is impacting its role, at least in its regional space?
Yes, and
and the objectives, of course, that you have set for yourselves.
Very frankly, in the late 2010s, there was kind of absence of Algeria for let me say it, for medical reasons. The then president was not in a position to act as what we were supposed to do, at least in our region. Definitely, the challenges first and foremost are in our region, in North Africa. Yeah. Definitely, this is the first. You mentioned the Sahel, Mali. We've been conducting since the 1960s 4 times our mediation with Mali. So it worked sometimes, and then because you said failed states. When you have in the northern Mali, when you have no resources, we have to recognize that they have no resources, and we have this even the physical difference, the physical distance between the north and the south. When you have no roads, and for northern Mali for 10 years, no services, no public services, no police, no schools, no hospitals. No, this is a reality. But knowing that I consider personally that northern Mali is an extension to Algeria, and for Malians also, southern Algeria is an extension. The same tribes, same people, the same thinking. We are obliged to, for our own security. You mentioned some of the issues, all the criminal gangs who are there, terrorists.
There are also the foreign interferences that are...
There are foreign interferences, which, let me tell you, one of the standards of our policy, we do not like to see foreign interference in in our neighborhood, whoever. So...
unfortunately, some of them are,
when you are weak, of course, you open up from foreign regions. I don't think, personally, I'm not talking about them as a person, I don't think this is in the interest of the local populations. So while the neighboring countries, this is their interest because this is their own security. This is, when you mention illegal migrations, I know the Europeans and the Americans are, screaming at us. You don't know. What can we do? What can we do when you have in this or the whole Sahel? And by the way, illegal migrants do not come only from the Sahel and from Western Africa. They came from the whole world, from Asia, from Eastern extremists of Africa. You have to know that. So, and all those illegals, their main objective is not Algeria, is to cross the Mediterranean. You mentioned the proximity. The Balears are 20 minutes flights, and it's 10 hours on small boats just to cross to go to continental Spain. So you have to understand this. This is very close. If you go to Tunisia, it's Lampedusa.
Yes.
Just 10 hours, 10, 12 hours in small boats. So you don't need to have big yachts for that. So it is a reality. But the question, do we have to do the police for Europeans and Americans? There have to be it has to be some cooperation. And first, it's solving the conflicts. Why these people are, you see what's happening right now in Sudan. Yeah. It will impact everywhere. People think that it's just remote. No, please. First, it impacts as a human being. We should not see, to me, of course, we should not, you have to be human, understand why such a thing happened, and why are we turning a blind eye? We should not. You know, now in 2025, and we
There are
have to look
hundreds
at
of thousands that
hundreds of thousands. That's
refugees
yeah.
in Libya alone. I think the estimates
Libya.
are now
Well,
about,
and after what happened in Libya in
Yeah,
2011, 2012, they came through Algeria.
yes,
Today we have huge shanty towns in the vicinity of some cities where completely out of in the hands of the. What can we do? You cannot send them back because there is no country. There's just sending them to death very often. What can we do? So we have, I think, international cooperation, understanding the problems, solving the conflicts. We have all the whole Sahel, trying to solve. You mentioned Mali, Niger, and Burkina, and all other countries. There are issues there. If you do not tackle these issues, we will have problems again and again and again. So, and we have to work together, hand in hand, trying with the UN and bilaterally with the countries. But thinking that this is something remote, no, I think it will be a mistake. You will continue. You cannot stop illegal migration if you think just by drafting laws, or it's impossible, or erecting walls. No, not in the desert at least.
yes,
That's not possible when you have just with Libya is 1,000 kilometers border, with Niger is 1,000. I'm speaking about Algeria,
Yeah.
and 1,200 with Mali. You cannot. That's not possible.
it always seemed to me that this issue of migration is just human. I mean, throughout history, human beings have always migrated for safety, for economic opportunities. So it's not something you can stop. The fact that you created these imaginary borders does not stop these kind of issues like climate change. The weather doesn't stop at these imaginary lines. And I always have argued, and I want your reaction to this, also wrote in the World Bank, that the solution has to be both economic and political. A lot of these places, they're forced to move because of the poverty dimension. And the second thing is, of course, the instability, political instability, civil war. I've always argued the only way you're going to solve this is if the global community, especially Europe, that is impacted, has to address these big buckets somehow. There are some creative solutions, but you cannot deal with it just on security dimension. It's not going to stop. That's ridiculous. Algeria still has a big population. In Libya, it's 2 million illegal migrants who are all heading to Europe. This is out of a population of 6 million people. So it's, and all of these people are trying every possible way. That, of course, gave rise to gangs, to organized crime, to smuggle them, and all of the stuff that comes out of these complexities. Where does Algeria sort of think or is arguing with Europe in terms of how do you deal with the migration, illegal migration from North Africa, and which is not going to stop? So where is the Algeria position in terms of this? What would you want Europe and the United States to do to help and not just blame Algeria or blame Tunis or Libya or so on, but how can they actually participate in solving this?
Well, definitely, it's first of all to understand the problem.
Yeah.
It's not just, as you mentioned, it's not only security. It's not enough, and it is not possible by experience. It's not possible. You cannot stop wherever you are. You cannot stop people. It's not only for economic reason who have to migrate, to move from their own homeland. It's security. In the Sahel, either they face death or they cross the borders. That's the reality. You cannot force them to come back. If you see what's going to happen in the next few days, next few weeks in Sudan, you cannot tell them stay there in your country. It's impossible. Because now you have the conflicts. But it's also the chicken and the egg. Who is the first? Is it the instability that results in that? Or because the dire economic situation and that brings instability? I don't know that. But definitely it has to be an international cooperation. We have all to sit together. I mean, here in the US, but especially Europe,
Yeah.
the Europeans should not continue to think that Algeria or others will do the police job for them. That's not possible. That's not sustainable. We won't do that. Definitely, no one will do that. So otherwise, we just open up the barriers to say, okay, go ahead, cross the Mediterranean. It's very easy. So we have to, when we said we have to sit together and discuss, not just discussing, a nice discussion we have today, but we have to understand, we have to solve. We have a problem in Mali, we have a problem in Niger, we have a problem in Sudan, the whole Sahel.
That have also Libya.
And Libya is different to me.
Yeah.
Libya, you have the resources.
Yes.
Small population and the resources.
But that's why they're fighting.
The others, they have nothing. They have the population.
Yeah.
They don't have the resources. And they have the war. I don't know who start first. They have the conflicts. For Mali, it's the first time in 60 years, serious crisis. In Niger, it's continuous instability.
It's the same.
Well,
In many ways.
I'm not going to pinpoint on some issues.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's
My
the whole
position,
region is-
the whole region.
Yeah.
But we have to understand, do not put the blame on them.
Yeah.
That's useless. You have to understand, what can we do? What can we do? I remember Kennedy said, don't ask what your country can do. What can you do for your country? What can we do for the Sahel? All together.
Yes.
Not only the countries in the region. What can we do? Sit together, discuss. What are the issues? Give me the problem, I will find the issues together, and with the concern, of course.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I've been dealing with that for years. If you do not talk to, for northern Mali, we had this not perfect. Nothing is perfect, and as a human conception. But the Algiers agreement for the reconciliation with the Malians. The young people who are now in power, they rejected it. And we have to face it.
Yeah.
Are they going to succeed? We doubt. But anyway, I wish them well. But how can we? And then you have what happened in Niger. That in Africa, we have the African Union condemns and do not accept unconstitutional changes. It's a good thing. So what can we do? But we have to face the reality.
Yeah.
You cannot just,
One of the things that I find troubling in Europe, for example, the Italian policy, which I think is now stopping anyway, but in which they were financing directly some of the warlords in, for example, Libya, to stop the migrants, which turned out to be a real interesting circle. They will pay some of these gangs supposedly to report any boats moving.
Yeah.
So what ended up the result was, and I'm talking here out of research I've been doing, is that these gangsters will take the money from Italy, report a couple of boats, right? Meanwhile, they're also charging the migrants exuberant amount of money. So they're making money from both sides in a very strange way. I think now, finally, Italy, I've seen some reports that Italy is stopping this idea. The thought is, I don't think it's bad intention. It was the idea of let's pay some of these people so we can help. But that's what I mean, that the security approach is never going to work. Trying to stop these people, physically is not going to work. Let me ask you one more question about the region, and it has been a very sensitive issue. But I'll be remiss if I don't ask it. Is the issue of the Sahara, the conflict or the disagreements with Morocco, which had impacted a lot of things, including the diplomatic relationship, economic cooperation, and so on. How is the thinking from Algeria's point of view about this? And especially now you have on the table this issue of the autonomy question. How is Algeria approaching this problem?
How Algeria is seeing we've been seeing, we think, we believe that the only solution, whatever solution, it has to be the result of the decision of the concerned, the Sahrawis. You cannot impose anything on them. Algeria will not speak on their behalf, definitely, I have
Yeah.
to very clearly. Don't forget we have hundreds of thousands of refugees in the southwestern part of the country. And it is a decolonization issue, and as recognized as such in the UN. The end game is that the Sahrawis will have to, as it was decided, by the way, by the MINURSO, which is the UN force that just has its mandate renewed for a year, just a few days ago.
We just had the special envoy here. It's
The Mistura, okay.
Yeah,
So
few
we
weeks
believe
ago.
in the UN that to find a solution between the two parties. The two parties are Kingdom of Morocco and the Polisario, the Frente Polisario. We can help, definitely. We'll help with Mauritania, I think. I'm not speaking on behalf, but I think they will be on board. But we cannot decide, you and me, on the fate of somebody else. They have to say, they have their word, they have to be recognized as such. They are recognized as such by the UN. So whatever solution they'll decide, we'll go with it. If they want to go with Morocco, so be it. But this is their decisions, not ours, not anybody else's decision. That's something very important. We're talking about freedom, freedom to speak, freedom to vote, freedom to choose. Let them choose. That's basically this is this is what we are doing. We're trying to convince. We are, I can tell you, trying to will have them talk together with the help of some other parties, including here, the U.S., because now the United States are the pen holder at the Security Council of the issue, and we hope it will. Algeria will help, definitely. We will help, we will push, we will do whatever we can do, but we will never, ever take decision on behalf of somebody else. This is their fate, and they, according to the UN doctrine and UN practice, if they want to go with Morocco, so be it. And we will be the first one to say bravo, go ahead.
I hope a solution happens, because it's
we
complicating the
are
whole
pushing
region.
many to find a solution, to talk to. It's up to them. Not. I will never decide myself or somebody else. I'm not. This is my job here. I cannot decide what you want to do in your house. Definitely not. I can advise you. I can give you some ideas, but I never. We don't want to have a Kurdish problem in our borders. So. That is lingering now for a year. And this one, I think rightfully people are saying 50 years is too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
50 years,
That's
it's too much.
Yeah, it is.
What's going to happen? Whatever they say, whoever says that, the Fronte Polisario kept his troops in hand. There is no terrorism, no nothing. While we see that many challenges in the region, because they're Sahelian. They are Saharian and Sahelian. So I hope the UN will succeed. We're fully supporting the Staffan de Mistura, the personal envoy of the Secretary General, UN Secretary General.
Okay, one last question about this, and then I'm hoping we can get some questions from here and online. If I can figure out how to use this, I think I'm going to need help from one of you. Tell me about the relationship with the United States. Where does it stand at the moment? And what is sort of, how do you see it moving?
I'm optimistic for that. I'm optimistic. I said early this year it cost me a lot, but they say the sky is the limit. Very frankly, I think it is the case.
Yeah.
So try to convince the Americans to be on board with us, to understand that we can work together. On so many issues, bilaterally, of course, and there's so many sectors where we can.
I think Barbara already agrees with that.
And Jeff before.
Yes, exactly.
No, I really, this is mainly my job here. So to drag.
Where are the complexities with the United States? Are there specific areas?
No. There is misconceptions sometimes. While I insist on that, we're the first to have signed a treaty with the Americans, 1795. So people tend to forget that we had a great relationship in the past. even during the colonization.
We were trying to attack their ships, as you know, in Libya. But so North Africa is significant. Morocco is the first country to recognize them, I think, officially.
We recognize because you started discussion with them,
Yeah.
even before others. So, and yourself, you should understand, because the Marine Corps,
Yes, exactly.
from the shores of Tripoli. So
Exactly. You can still go and visit Philadelphia down
it means,
there.
yeah, so it means that there are things happen in the past, historically. We had our National Day a few days ago, and Americans were a little, taken aback when I said we had Algerians fought during the Civil War.
Yeah.
With Abraham Lincoln, so the right side.
Really? That was,
Yes.
that's something I never knew.
So many, yes.
They volunteered, or how did it
They
happen?
came here, and we have even pictures of this time when they were camping just next to the American University here in Spring Valley.
Yeah.
So people do not. And something what happened in America after the Second World War, I do the shortcut. The impact of the American, I remember older generation, they talked to me about when the American came to Algeria in 1942. And it helped in the mind of the Algerians say, oh, the French could be defeated, French colonial power. So they said they needed the Americans to, and many Algerians fought and died in 1942, and they came all the way with them to Tunisia and then to Italy, and then they came. I mentioned that French Algerians under Allied command, they freed the city of Marseille in France in 1944, if I remember. Yes, 1944.
That's why you can get the best couscous in the world.
Definitely is the best one. That's a good
I ate
object of
there,
fight.
I know how it tastes.
I'm here, you can say ours is the best. So definitely. This is, by the way, as yourself, where you come from. This is the Ibn Khaldun, who is
Exactly.
a famous philosopher and historian and all the things. He said that how we define the Maghreb. The Maghreb is where in Arabic, they say halq al-ru'us.
Oh,
they
yeah.
cut short their hair.
Yeah.
Libas al-barnous, which is our traditional gown.
Exactly.
I have to put it. And akl al-couscous. So those who eat the couscous as a basic is the Maghreb, culturally. So it's half of Libya, not full Libya.
Exactly.
It's beyond the...
Abu Gheba said a great line when somebody asked him about the Maghreb countries. He said, there is a line in the middle of Libya.
Yeah, exactly.
To the west of it, people eat couscous. To the east of it, people eat rice. So that's his definition of what Al-Maghrib countries are.
And the whole steps, because this is what we're producing. It's wheat, about wheat.
Yeah.
So, and this is the Maghreb, by the way.
Let me just add one dimension here to this discussion, is the Algerian-China relationship. Very few people realize how historic it has been. And now that China is sort of really back into North Africa, a little bit stronger, and Algeria is its basic ally. Tell us something about it. Because of, remember in the 60s, their support for the independence of Algeria?
In the 50s there. Yeah. We got support from the Chinese.
Yeah.
They were out of then it was not we helped them 1971 when they came back to the UN.
Yeah.
It was
you were the ones who pushed, I think, for...
We pushed, but it was natural, and then afterwards Nixon, the trips, and then President Bush, father, and they did all the trips there. And so, but it is a reality. You have to deal with China. So no, but China is doing not only in the Maghreb, but in the whole Africa.
Yes.
It's up to you to have a look on that.
We have a very strong China program here.
I used to say to my American friend, it's up to you to be there. If you turn your back on Africa, then do not blame the Africans. Do not blame the Africans. While I can tell, the Chinese are there, but also American companies are there in Algeria. And I hope there will be more and more in the future.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take one question here from online since we've been really late, and then I'll ask for one question from the audience here, or we'll start the other way. So Let's go ahead and get questions from the audience here, and then I'll ask some questions from online. Anybody wants to start? Please.
Hi, Haley Hawkins.
Can you identify yourself and your affiliation, if I may ask?
Yes, I'm a student at Johns Hopkins SAIS, getting my master's degree, and I'm studying the Middle East and North Africa.
My former, I was there 2 months ago. I spent 8 years at Johns Hopkins.
Really?
Not as a student, though.
I
I
assume.
was a senior fellow there
Oh, that's excellent.
before I came here.
Yes. Well, I've actually had the pleasure of visiting Algeria twice.
It's a
and-
nice country, no?
Oh, it's beautiful.
You can say it, no problem.
Yes. And I absolutely agree that it should be open to more tourism, and more Americans should visit. But I had a question about youth participation in the government, because I know you mentioned that among your large youth population, you are opening it up to make sure that the youth can run for office. But I'm wondering if you are finding that the youth really want to be politically involved, and you're finding a strong will there to run for office and really participate and fully engage in those opportunities?
Yes, I can tell you, definitely. Definitely, I can tell you, when I was part of member of the government, one of the members was 25 years old, minister. And he's still minister, by the way, no?
Wow.
Yeah, he's still minister dealing with startups. So no agriculture. Agriculture. He's and there were many others. I remember less than 35 or 40 years. Comparing to me, it's a huge gap. There is definitely, whether we like it or no, but there is a huge, there is a demand, there is interest, and how to convince them that this is up to the youth to decide of their future. Whether it's, I think it's to me nothing is perfect, as I said, but yeah, there is a huge participation now. Just a few days ago, there is this minister, I can say to the minister, who launched an initiative of planting 1 million trees in 1 day.
One day?
One day, yes. And he did it because he had all the support of especially young people all across the country.
Wow.
In 1 day, 1 million trees were put in the Nigerian soil. So and there are so many. I just met 2 days ago, if I remember, a young entrepreneur who's having how many 1,500 employees already. No, this is just a sample. Yes, there is. There are also young people entering into politics. Yes, and there, as we say as they say in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, they're shaking the coconut tree. So it's moving. It's moving. And by the way, whether we like biology will change the things, it will be our kids and grandkids to decide of their future. And today, young people, say 1 million Algerians graduate going every year to the job market. So they're not going to stay silent. They will ask, they will speak up, they will participate. And I've seen this council, I mentioned this youth council towards the president. Very dynamic, very active, and very demanding to answer because they want everything immediately. No, it's really positive. It's really positive. I'm very happy with that, by the way. Very positive.
We have a question from a colleague at the Carnegie Endowment, Catherine Selfie. She's wondering about the new EU pact for the Mediterranean region, and is asking, is this the kind of approach or international effort that or cooperation that Algeria would support and try to participate in?
There are so many initiatives. There were, and there's still this one, but there were so many initiatives on the Mediterranean. We're trying to have this kind of cooperation discussions, the Barcelona processes and others, and in our region, the 5+5, and so many. Yeah. There is still the one issue that's hampering and impeding that. Of course, this the Middle East, the Palestinian question. That is really terrible on its impact on Also what happened in Libya. Now it's peaceful, thank God. Not sold, but peaceful. So there are this complex relationship we have with our neighbors, ourselves. We will go with anything, including the last one with the EU. But the EU tended to put a blind eye on, or this is something like not a principal issue. Let me tell you, just for the history, that when maybe Jeff will understand that, in the 1970, 1971, when it was then now it's the organization, the conference, Helsinki conference, the security in Europe with the Americans, we were advocating then your security cannot be assured without taking a look into the southern rim of the Mediterranean. We were speaking in the desert, literally. Nobody said, no, what? So then it grew up, and we had so many initiatives. Now it's part now it's OSCE, the name, Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, and they have this.
We have some of them listening, by the way.
Great, but he doesn't know the history maybe. But we were the Algerian delegation, went there and to Helsinki and said, listen, you cannot have security, Atlantic security, without having a look on the Mediterranean. So you have to at least to listen to us. So today, this part of initiative, I say all of them, but we have this.
So in general, yes, Algeria likes this kind of cooperation.
These are our neighbors. People do not understand. It's not only, you said it's a lake for the Mediterranean. We have maritime borders, and we have problems with some, with Italy, with France. And we are neighbors, literally, territorial.
It's a good thing you're not in the east side.
With Italy, it was signed. With Morocco and Tunisia, it's okay, but especially with Spain because of the Balears, with Italy because of the Sardinia and Sicilia. So we are neighbors. Literally, we are neighbors.
Yes, but let me add to this just out of curiosity, and I think it's important that the relationship with France these days has been quite complex. How is that? How is it now, and how are you looking at it?
Well, I hope we will have this kind which is I'm advocating that also with the US here. You have to have a respectful relationship. Yeah. We're different, but we have to respect each other. But the difference with France is the weight of the past. Yes. So I can just to sum up, it went till now. Algeria became an issue in France, in the internal politics of France, which we don't like, of course. So, especially what is happening.
Well, historically, they thought of Algeria as a part and parcel of France.
This is not part of a colony. Algeria, then it was a kind of, how do you say, the département. But it's part of France. But they didn't. But no.
It was in the constitution. I think.
We were. I was born before 1962, so but the Algerians were not equal. Absolutely not. Never. Yeah. Yes. Never. So you have to understand that. And they came, and then whatever they like it or not, they spoiled the Algeria was 70% literacy before the French came to Algeria, which people do not know that. We were exporting food. The issue with the French at the beginning, which they called the coup de l'éventail. How do you translate it in French? In English, with the day the king of Algeria slapped the face of the French consul. Why? Yeah. Why? Because the Algerians landed the wheat to Napoleon forces in 1800. I didn't pay back. So the day was always asking, when are you going to? So at least what you understand, we were producing wheat. We lent, and we sold the food for Napoleon troops. It was not terra nullius, as the French say, because you came and you had. And then they used Algeria as their land. It's okay. So it was going. I remember that perfectly well because I was already working. In 2005, we had this. The French agreed on discussing of the past between between historians, not between politicians. And then just to put people in the foot, as we say in the shoe, Algeria, in the French parliament, they said you have to teach, small amendment by night, they said you have to teach in the French system the benefits of the colonizations in Algeria. This was, when you have people who lost their parents, who lost their belongings to colonization, this is not the same kind. And from that time till now, it is always coming back. And unfortunately, those who are in a certain political party, they still think about French Algeria. Yeah. It won't work. It won't work. It's a non-starter to us. It's absolutely a non-starter.
No,
I wish we could have the best relationship with them. These are our neighbors. We have common, of course, the history is common, but do not patronize us. Do not try to school us. Do not try to teach us something that is really, literally part of us. When you spoke to people who lost their, 1.5 million just between 54 and 62, you cannot just turn the page for nothing. No.
Algeria,
hopefully
Arabic,
in the future.
Yeah.
That will,
Algeria in Arabic among the Arab countries and population was a really major issue. It's almost the equivalent of Palestine today.
Yep.
And the horrors of the French colonial part historically, they stopped people from learning Arabic. They tried to change religion. Yeah. Exactly, it was forbidden. So
we were not citizens.
Yeah.
Until they entered into Algeria in 1830, and until 1958, they were they called us indigenous.
Yeah.
So all the people of France today, they should not forget that.
Yeah.
So and then
I agree. It was one of the most horrible colonial periods in the world. Okay, another question from the audience. Please, Barbara. Yes.
Ambassador, a question that sort of has two dimensions. AI. Is the government integrating AI as a piece of its economic diversification program? You see other countries in the Middle East, principally in the Gulf, but not only, working to attract investors, the American hyperscalers, to build infrastructure, data farms, et cetera, in their countries, because they have what Algeria has, which is ample space, cheap energy supplies, et cetera. And then how is the government looking at AI in terms of integrating it into learning, into society, is there a master plan for it? Is there a ministry of AI? We see some of the governments across the region. I think Morocco and Egypt have ministers or ministries of AI. I'm not sure how well developed their plans are, but I wondered what Algeria is doing in that space.
I love your question, Barbara, because you speak about the future. We talk too much about the past. We should not forget our past. I said this famous sentence in our country, say, we turn the page, but we will not forget it. So for the future, yes, AI. I can just 2 days ago, I saw a documentary in Algeria, because we have a school specifically dedicated to AI, which they take the best of the best from college, and they go there. And they go to this national school, and they're the most sought after right now, this kind of university, specialized on AI. We have a minister for the young, one of the young ministers that we have now in the government, who was dealing both with the new technologies, startups, and yes, definitely, you mentioned also the possibility, and we are talking right now with some American companies about the possibility of having this, how do you call them, especially in the desert, because he said the energy is there, even solar energy, not only fossil, and to build the data centers there, because we have good connections with Europe, with the connections included by optic fibers and all the things. Yeah, and I am expecting in the next few months, hopefully, that we'll have American investments there. AI, definitely, the President Tebboune has ordered, he was a little not very happy with what happened, said by the end of this year, like in a month and a half, digitalization of all public services. It is because it was not. It's not easy to change the old habits. So there is a strong willingness to move forward in the future, build something future. It's not only the past. We should not forget the past, but we're doing that. As far as we are trying to have also discussing with some university right now here, myself and my team, on the future, and there are many ideas, many projects, and some are going to hopefully during my tenure here. So definitely, the data center is the first one. Many data centers, you said, cheap energy, connections with Europe and the whole world. So it's up to everyone to grab.
Since Barbara didn't introduce herself, I just wanted to let you all know Ambassador Levy was the lead, or the person who led U.S. policies, foreign policy in the region as a whole, Middle East and North Africa, during the Biden administration. Let me just, and then I'll come back to you, Karim, and yes, sir. We have a question from already a colleague at the Hudson Institute, and I already asked it, which is about France. So let me go to you, Karim, and then we'll go online, and then you, sir.
Karim Mezran, Atlantic Council. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for your clear answers and your openness. I'm sorry I have to bring a little bit part of an elephant back into the room. You are going to face a lot of pressure coming from European countries that are acknowledging the supremacy or the superiority of Moroccan rights over the Western Sahara. This has happened, and the whole wave is going to come very soon. How are you going to face this kind of antagonism, this kind of favoring brutally the Moroccan rights over those of the Sahrawi that you support, or the Algerians, and how do you think Algeria will react? And second, regarding the importance of your relationship with the United States, the Trump administration is going to pressure, as it has been pressuring almost every Arab state, or every state in the Mediterranean and beyond, to recognize or join the Abraham Accords. How are you going to face that? How are you going to...
Pardon me, the last one, I'm sorry.
Yes, the Abraham Accords. Oh. The United States will pressure, they have been pressuring every Arab state, they will pressure Algeria too, to do that, to join. How are you going to react to that?
First, on the first question, on the first issue you mentioned, I spoke about Western Sahara. Definitely, right to self-determination means the obligation that the people of Western Sahara to decide their own future, whatever anybody else will say. So that we will not depart from this position. Definitely not. Secondly, what you said about if you mentioned the European governments and even the European Commission, but you have the tribunal, le Conseil des droits the European Rights Court said, cost of justice, exactly. It was very clear. They said on some agreements and fishing and mining, and they said you have no right. I mean, according to international law, and that's the Europeans who said that. Secondly, for the Americans, when you mentioned the Americans also on Western Sahara, the Americans, I remember the December 2020, President Trump's declaration said, he spoke about his position, but he said, you can read it, you can have it said, but it has to go through negotiations. He didn't say it's 100%. It has to go through negotiations between Moroccans and, it was not mentioned, but he said between the parties. So, and the last resolution just a week ago, if I remember, in the UN Security Council, saying that yes, the members expressed their position on the autonomy plan, Moroccan autonomy plan. That very frankly, I haven't seen it. I'm still. I wonder how you can support something that you don't know what it is exactly. We don't know. That's saying yes, we support. Okay, but where is it? And they say it's in the conditional could be one of the solution, a solution. It's not, didn't say it's 100%. And whatever we decide, whatever they decide or they do, it happens to the people. You cannot overstate, go beyond. No, that's not possible. You won't have a solution without consulting the population, the concerned population. That's a basic, we don't say human rights because now it's becoming something very, everyone's saying, okay, this is a reality. I cannot decide on your future. I cannot decide on his future. It's up to you. Decide. I can have my own opinion.
It's okay. You can decide mine. I'm loud here, but
well, if you agree, but we agree.
Yeah.
You have given. The Sahrawis didn't give that. They're calling and they're calling for to be heard for 50 years now. It's not easy. I went to the camps I wish there would be more journalists, more people going there, and see by yourself how the people are living. While the international aid has diminished strangely, there's no more. We are helping them. We are sending humanitarian help, food and schools and all the things. Yes, but until when? It has to be an international solution. It's a national issue. The Africans have their, African Union has, by the way, the Sahrawis have their own state in the African Union. You should not discard that. You should not discard. It is not 192 countries in the UN supporting that, the idea of the Moroccans. No. And we are still saying, let's discuss. Put the Moroccans and the Sahrawis together. This is not a big deal to me. Discuss, and whatever you decide, it's okay. Regarding the second question, I quote the president. As soon as the Palestinian state will be recognized, we will go along with what happened in the... Don't forget that the Palestinian state was proclaimed in Algiers in 1988, October, if I remember. November? متأكد? 15th of November, so I'm older than you, so my memory is... So, and when we, I understand your question. What was, people did not mention, did not notice that. We said, and it was then Abu Ammar, okay, Yasser Arafat, who proclaimed the constitution of the Palestinian state. And he said, in the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital. It means beyond that there is something else, mainly Israel. So as soon as there is the recognition of the Palestinian states, the right to statehood for the, as President Trump has said in the Gaza plan, the right to statehood for the Palestinians, everything is possible. Also, we are part of the 2002 peace plan, Arab peace plan, who said territory against peace. So unfortunately, or the Abraham Accords did not fit in this framework. So, but our position is not that what people think. We said Palestinian state first, and then everything is possible.
Okay, I'm going to go to another question, and then I'll come back to you. From a colleague at the Washington Institute, Sabina, who's asking about beyond the oil and gas interest with the United States, what else are you looking forward from the United States, or look for?
So many things. Oil, very frankly, I would be very... oil and gas, they don't need us because they know their interest. They're big shots. Yeah. They know the big companies that you know, needless to mention them, they see the world globally, and they know that Algeria is very important to them. So definitely it's one of the... for the future, it will be a huge, huge, huge thing in Algeria. I think now it's known on the... here in the scene. But there are so many others. Technology, definitely. Education. Barbara mentioned IA and agriculture. That's for your information. It's not the government, but not public company, but a private Qatari Algerian company just bought for the first batch 25,000 cows from Ohio. So it's huge. So that's the first batch. And they intend to buy 200,000 at the end of their... so it's huge. We would like to have American agriculture experts there. We have also, you mentioned the MOU on defense, something that's... I said the sky's the limit, no, nothing... we are not aligned with anyone. It's, how we feel. So
There is no obstacle to
there is no ideology.
furthering the relationship.
No ideology. On the contrary,
Yeah.
we'd like to have, buying. Why not? We're already buying military equipment from here. Most of the planes, by the way, transportation. Yes, it's not a secret. And there are other in defense. Yes, definitely, and no objections as long as we respect each other.
Yeah.
And we have the military dialogue, and we have a political dialogue with the Americans. We have a military dialogue. So, one of the fields, but education I mentioned, the universities. So we're trying to attract universities, and I'm dreaming of an American university in Algiers.
I can help you on that.
Yes, we'll discuss on that.
Because of my academic. But okay, sir, your question, and then please, I'll take one more after this. He has to leave after this. I'm sorry, I can't satisfy everybody, but please.
That last question and your answer, Mr.
Can you
Ambassador.
introduce yourself, please?
I was going to get to that, but the last question and your answer, Mr. Ambassador, were a good segue to my question. My name is Jim Bailey. I'm on the board of the United States Algeria Business Council, which has been promoting trade between the two nations and investment for some years now. I've noticed in the last few years in addition to the youth moving into the politics and the civic life of Algeria, I've noticed a strong dynamic of middle managers in business, the thriving private sector that's growing, as well as in some of the state-owned companies, the middle managers who are striving to move into a stronger capitalist position. I wondered if you had any observations on that, because we all know that economy is an important leg on the stool of security.
I definitely will tell you, Jim, that there is a strong, feeling and standing by the current authorities. And I'm speaking on behalf of the president, that we want to go out of the oil and energy dependence, definitely. So, and it's the counterpart is to open up the country and the economy to a private sector. And I know many of the people who are in the private sector in Algeria. One of them has 15,000. It's incredible. People do not. It's not small enterprise. 15,000 employees. One of them was just in Washington a few days ago. So looking globally, looking first for Algerian market, and there are so many in that. And we are pushing. We believe in that. It's not to please anyone. We believe in that open market, capitalistic, if you want the economic term, not policy. Yes, from the reform, I forget reforming the banking sector. We need that. I forgot also IT with Barbara. IT is huge. There are just the figures. I think it's important to know there are more how the phones, the SIM cards, I don't know how to call it. I'm the old generation, so I need to adjust. More SIM cards than the population. So we are 48 million, so it's more than 55 million, if I remember all the. So and what it means the connection, social medias, everyone, especially the young people. So this is going to push all the minds, not mine, it's too late, but everywhere it will change. It will change Algeria. Definitely, that's the future. So let's be it. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. I'm sorry, sir, but there were a few before. There was a question from a colleague here at the Stimson, Alejandro, but I think we already covered it. It's about the Sahel countries. But please, the young lady there, I think the first one, the one with glasses, I'm sorry, not you. Thank you. And then, I'm sorry, we'll conclude, but you can come up and ask him questions after.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I have two short questions. The first one, you referred several times to the resolution, the UN resolution that renewed the MINURSO lately. and you referred it quite positively. So could you tell us why Algeria decided not to vote during the latest vote? And the second one, could you give us a sense of the relationship between Algeria and Russia, and especially how you see their role in the Sahel? Thank you.
First, on the first resolution, you're right. We did not participate in the vote. I can tell you for one reason, one small reason. And we asked the pen holder, Americans here, here in New York. There is one word, one single word, who we would have voted in favor. We would have voted in favor, and we asked that they drop in the preamble. I think I don't remember exactly what was to say the word sovereignty. Take it off. It was not accepted. We did not go along with that. That's the reason. So now you understand. The second, for Russia, Algeria is a non-aligned country. We believe this is part of us, of our genes. We are not following anyone, not ideology. We would like to have the best relationship. As ambassador to the US, I would like to have the best relationship with the United States of America, definitely. But we will not be aligned with the Americans. I mean, this is what I call the respected exchange, and we respect each other, and we discuss. We have the good discussions, by the way. Barbara surely knows that, on so many issues: intelligence sharing, security, many things. And hopefully, there will be the future will be even brighter on energy. And we do the same thing. You mentioned China before. No China, no Russia, no Algeria. So we follow Algeria. Where are our best interests? The Algerian ambassador in Washington thinks that the best interest is here. Maybe my colleague in Moscow or in Beijing will think the same and will act the same. So no ideological influence. Regarding the Sahel, you mentioned the Sahel. I can tell you we are against any military presence in our neighborhood, a foreign military presence. That I mean it's clear. So it's up to everyone has the right to decide. That's the word sovereignty. They have to decide whatever they want. But we are not at ease with having foreign bases, especially in our neighborhood. So this is our doctrine. So.
Thank you so very much. I'm really, really grateful for your presence and your time. You didn't disappoint me with your insights and your ability to manage all the questions. I hope we can do more in the future. On Algeria, we have written a couple of reports on Algeria, which I would like to share with you. And thank you all for joining us. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces and people who led a lot of the efforts of the United States in the region. So thank you very much. And please.
Well, first, thank you, Hafed. It's wonderful. I'm very happy to be here with you. But let me add something. It's very important to us, to me,
please,
that we got insights from different parts of the society. I mean, here, especially academia and former high-ranking officials. You have because you need to have a different perspective. Because you should not think that we diplomats.
There are a couple of other former higher level, but they're
definitely. But yourself, but yourself. You know, coming from academia or the teaching or international relationship, it's very good, because you need to look what others think about you, or what your policies, not you personally. Yeah. That's very important. It will build the way we act in the future. Yeah. So I saw exactly what the interest, and I can sum up the questions. It is very important. It should be this interaction between those who, I do not decide on policy. I implement policies decided elsewhere, but it's very important. So I'm not grabbing, I'm not sticking to some old principles. Absolutely not. I want to mention the young people, the youth. Yes, because it's in our interest. Yeah. It's not to please anyone, not even the United States. It's in our interest, our security, our future, the future of our kids and grandkids. That's important to listen to everyone. This is how I see the things. So,
Thanks
thanks
you,
a lot.
and please consider us. You have an open invitation. The embassy, if there is anything we can do in terms of meetings, consultations, bringing colleagues around the table.
Yeah, when you have officials coming to Washington,
anytime,
yes.
anytime.
Be careful, I'm going to abuse that.
No, please, by all means.
Thank you, Hafed.
Thank you
Thanks
guys
a
all
lot.
for